All right, looks like it's 6:30, so I will call to order the Pickering School Building Committee. Roll call, please.
Mayor Nicholson,
Present.
Dr. Alvarez, Mr. Bertino, Member Castellanos, Councilor Chakutis, Mr. Donovan,
Yeah.
Ms. Drago,
Present.
Member Gately,
Present.
Ms. Girardo, Mr. Kolakidis,
Present.
Councilor LaPierre, Mr. Makua,
Present.
Mr. Mannion,
Present.
Mr. Marlin, Mayor McGee,
Present.
Councilor Meany, Ms. Miller, Ms. Philbrook,
Present.
Mr. Ridley,
Present.
Ms. Ruggiero,
Present.
Mr. Smart.
Yep, here. Present.
So we do have a quorum.
Great. Let's get started.
Share my screen. Let's see. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so tonight we'll do just our review of the meeting minutes. We'll give you a quick procurement update, construction update, and then a sort of high-level ground improvements update. We'll talk about the upcoming SBC meeting schedule, and then we have in other business some information about public engagement for the redistricting effort that is going to be part of or facilitated by the new Pickering School. So first order of business is review and approval of the March 12th SBC meeting minutes, which were in the packet sent around yesterday.
Is there a motion?
Make
Motion.
a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Lynn, would you like to walk everyone through sort of the latest
Sure,
information?
I can give
about-
while we've been working on the guaranteed maximum price for the construction budget, we have held it back until the bid protests are complete. We did get a ruling from the Attorney General's office for the resilient flooring. Testers protest and the low bidder Ayotte and King was awarded, and they've been given a letter of award. The electrical work, we had our initial bid protest at late January. We went through a bid protest hearing. We were told that we had to rebid the electrical work, which we did do. We received bids on the 26th of March, and Interstate was the low bidder the second time around as well. Anise Electric was the second low bidder. They were less than $5,000 apart. And then Anise filed another bid protest the following day, March 27th, indicating a paragraph E violation. So we have submitted position statements, both Interstate, Anise, and the city, and we have a scheduled meeting with the Attorney General's office bid unit on April 30th, and we're hoping that we will get a decision shortly thereafter, because this, had we not had the delay already with ground improvements, this would be a significant issue to have to overcome. And I think we really want the Attorney General's office to hear that, because these paragraph E protests seem to be happening a lot more lately and are really causing disruption to project schedules. Tom, I think you had your hand up. Tom? Oh, I thought he had a question there. His hand was
I
up.
mean, no, I was.
But hopefully, we will
Just
have
what
a
is-
decision in
Yeah, I'm
early
sorry.
May, and we can award the electric. It's a good thing that we did.
So I think, Lynn, your signal's a little delayed, but, Tom does have something to
Go
say.
ahead.
I was muted. What is the E thing?
Okay.
You know, what is it exactly? So I can understand it, please.
The first time it was just a way, the first time was how each of the bidders indicated who was going to be working on site under the theatrical piece of the project, as well as the security piece. And there were arguments back and forth about each of the bidders. I think Griffin was involved in the protest last time, and they all were saying that each of the bidders did not indicate correctly the people that would be providing labor on the job under the electrical category in paragraph E. We were very explicit when we went back out to rebid, and the second time around, Interstate indicated someone that is only providing parts and not labor. It was a small piece, but it's, you know, Anise filed and said that they indicated someone that was not going to be providing labor. So that's the current bid protest.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. I just
But
didn't
it's all
understand.
been about, you know,
Labor on the project.
yes.
Okay,
And
thank you.
it seems to be quite nuanced, even when the subcontractors are trying quite hard to get it right. It's been proving to be a challenge to get it right.
Okay, I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Any other questions on this? The next topic is our construction progress update, which I believe Superintendent Pierre Joas is going to be speaking to.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everybody. So yes, while out on site, we've been staying as busy as we possibly could be, truthfully. We're taking advantage of the delay with the ground improvements to get some of the work that was planned for summer of 26. We're getting that work in now while we truly have the site work a little open. So if you will go to the next slide, you're going to see the detention system on the kind of right-hand side of that picture. That detention system is complete and backfilled in. And currently we are working on the second one where that hole has been open and we are actively installing the detention system. So we should, you're right about there. We should have that one wrapped up mid to end of next week. And then we're going to head into tying in our water for the site. And the goal for us is to get the parking lot, which is the permanent parking lot, to get the permanent binder installed. So since, again, we were able to get about 70% of our utilities installed, that allows us to get the permanent binder installed for the parking lot, which is, big for us because it's, that's one step into a very clean site when you're working off asphalt, right, as far as dirt or dense grade. So again, we're pushing along where we can and taking advantage of the delay. So the kudos to the team for keep pushing.
Thank you, Pierre.
Lorraine, I think had a question.
I do. Pia, how was the site during all this rain? Because this is what happens all the time here, and then it floods. So how did we do with all that rain?
Truthfully, it's not been too bad. We do have a very good dewatering system. So while we're excavating these holes, we're pretty much continuously dewatering. So so the next day we're not coming into like a swimming pool, truthfully. So with that, it's been very good for us. And we're going to, that's why it's super important for us to take advantage of getting all that work done now. And once, we get pavement installed, it's a lot easier for us to manage the water at that point.
I'm glad that you're getting to see it firsthand, because then it's taken care of and we won't have that problem after everything's done, right? And thank you for
Correct.
what you're doing.
Correct. That's what we're here for.
So it
then-
might be worth saying that we're going to be working on geothermal test wells in Wells. Pierre, do you want to just hit that a little bit of what's going to happen over
Yes.
spring break?
So next week, we're going to take advantage of the April vacation, and we're mobilizing on Monday with the geothermal rig activity. So the plan is to get like one, hopefully 2 wells in the Sisson parking lot during that week, just to get a feel for the activity, because as we all know, the summer is a tough task, but we're going to get it done. But we're just trying to get all the kinks worked out now. And again, so taking advantage of the delay, we're actually going to keep the geothermal sub and work what we were calling phase 2, which is basically the new Pickering side. We're going to roll right into that the week after April vacation. So we got 45 wells to do on our side of the line, and that's what we're gonna keep going with. So again,
I think that is all dependent upon us working out the schedule and cost impact of the ground improvements.
correct.
I don't know. Now that I've made those marks, I can't get rid of them.
Can we speak to this, Craig?
Yes, please.
So we've been working hard, and we have come to a solution that all parties agree to. The city's consulting engineers, as well as Consigli's consulting engineers, and then Terracon as the designer of record. We've been pulling engineers from all over the country because, as you know, this situation that we're dealing with on the site is a little unique, or at least not seen as much in New England. So what the condition is, it's called liquefaction, and during a vibratory event, the water in the soils sort of becomes a little bit like quicksand in a way. Not really, but that's the best analogy I can give you at this point. So we have come to a solution, and it involves installing rigid inclusions for the support of the foundations and the slabs on grade. In addition, there'll be a system of earthquake drains under the entire footprint of the building, and this will act as a relief to prevent that sort of liquefaction process by allowing a relief for the groundwater during a seismic or vibratory event. So right now, Terracon has provided some parameters for this system and the install of it, and Consigli has changed subcontractors to a more experienced company that's capable of installing and designing both the rigid inclusions and the earthquake drains. And as those contractors are working together, the consulting engineers are also working to fully vet the solution and also to understand the cost and schedule impacts. By the next SBC meeting, we'll be able to report the full impact of this new approach and get into a little bit more detail on the design. Tom?
Thanks. Could you get a little more detail on the rigid inclusion and the slab on grade? Just going back to the classical issue, the slab on grade without pilings underneath caused substantial problems on the classical site. Similarly, the underlying soil and dump that was there created issues there. So could you explain to me and
So the rigid inclusions
could you explain that to all of us so we understand exactly what we're talking about here?
yes, so the rigid inclusions, we'll show you a picture of it in just a moment, but the rigid inclusions will support both the foundation and the slab on grade. So the slab on grade won't be earth bearing. It will be supported by the rigid inclusions. Craig, if you want to go to the next slide, these are an example of the rigid inclusions, and it's a drilling and a grouted piling in a way. Not quite like the concrete piles, but it's a very similar pile.
And how far down? I mean, it's a good vision, I can see. So how far down will those have to go, or is that part of the ongoing?
That's part of the ongoing vetting of the solution, but I'm thinking they're talking about around 45 feet.
To what's pretty solid at that
Yes.
location. Okay. Thanks. I appreciate that. This is there's a good slide here showing it.
So
I guess what we're
in
looking
the
at.
layer below the slab will be a crushed gravel layer, and that's where this system of earthquake wicks or drains will be placed so that the soil below it that has a high water content will have a relief and a place for the water to go so that the soil doesn't get soupy during a vibratory event.
And as you said earlier, this supports all of that, and the slab on grade is not weight bearing. It's
Right. It's not supported by the ground itself. It's supported by the rigid inclusions.
just maybe an interesting piece of this, and maybe it's a little off topic, but I think they had similar issues on the Central Artery project with the kind of soil and almost like you said, quicksand style underneath what they had to deal with there. Is that what we're talking about here?
Similarly, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks, and I look forward to continuing discussion on this. Thank you for the thanks, Lynn.
Tom, Manuel?
Lynn, so with the drilling, hopefully this won't go further for damage into Sisson School. Instead of doing a thrusting into the ground, we're going to drill into the ground. So that should take some of the pressure, hopefully, off of anything else going with the existing school.
Right. It's a drilling action as opposed to a ramming or thrusting action. So it should not create vibratory, the same vibratory action as the rammed aggregate piers.
Thank you, Lynn.
Any other questions before we move on to the next topic? No, not seeing any. So as you may all have heard, the governor did extend the temporary provisions that allow us to meet remotely. And that extension goes all the way to summer of 2027. So I think that was very welcome news in our industry, where Zoom is a very important means of communication. Upcoming meetings, something that we're talking about in the next slide is a public forum for redistricting scheduled for April 30th. More information in about 1 minute. And then we've got our May, June, and July monthly meetings coming up. So as part of the redistricting effort, Lynn Public Schools has this public engagement plan. It started back on April 1st. This community survey began being published and promoted. It shows up on Lynn Public Schools website, shows up on the project website, and I believe there was a parent square message that went around. And so this is to collect information, collect feedback from the public. Towards the end of the month, at the end of the month, Wednesday, April 30th, there's going to be an in-person meeting or a forum held at the Pickering Middle School gym to make a presentation, and then also, again, kind of collect feedback and from the public. Then, with that in hand, the next step is the presentation will be made to this group, the Pickering SBC, at our regular May meeting. And that'll be an opportunity for, this group to ask questions and get answers. And then I think the final step is, that same presentation being made to the school committee, who will be voting on, the proposed redistricting, and that is scheduled for the June 12th meeting. Deb, did I get everything right?
Yes, you did, Craig. The only thing I would add is that we have already done an informational presentation to the school committee at their March 27th meeting so that they knew what was going to happen. And we've shortly after launched the public comment survey and scheduled the family forum, the public forum. So we're looking forward to hearing some feedback, and then hopefully making a final decision and getting a vote.
I see Member Gately's got her hand up.
Yeah. How are we gonna get this information out to the public that we're having a meeting on the 30th?
It has already gone out through Parent Square to district-wide. It is already posted on our website and it is posted on the MSBA website.
And Lynn, do you think you can contact the two parents that you have their numbers, just to call them and let Mrs. Surratt and let Mr., I'm trying to remember his last name, let them know about this meeting?
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you. Communication's key here.
I see a hand up from the daily item.
So, sorry, I'm the chair here. So this is a committee meeting, so we unfortunately cannot take comments and questions from folks that aren't members. But we of course would be more than happy to answer your questions following the meeting. So thank you.
Anything else on this topic? Fantastic. Then next is just sort of the general questions to the committee, or an opportunity for general questions from the committee.
I think I have one concerning, the reimbursement from the federal government on the geothermal. I mean, I guess the word you're going to throw around is chaos in Washington. Is that grant coming back to the city in jeopardy because of the cancellation of the Green New Deal? Does anybody know that at this point?
We don't know. We have heard from Hinckley Allen that some payments are still being made. We are proceeding as if we will receive that the IRA incentives. We are tracking everything, and we have so again, we're proceeding as if we are going to receive it, and we'll submit. But at this point, it's hard to say whether or not the money will be there at the end of the project or not.
That's
I'll just add, Tom, that the project team is following it. We're certainly following it as well, and we absolutely need to factor that in as best we can. There's a lot here that's beyond our control, and we're sort of making predictions with the information that we have, but certainly something that we're going to continue to keep an eye on and factor into account. The latest we've heard from the different sources was that was not something that was being like on the chopping block of direct pay, but it certainly seems like that would be consistent with other things that have been. So we're closely following that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And at some point, we'll have to make a decision one way or the other with the information we have, and there's an element of risk either way. So,
right, it's just a big help for the project, I think. Obviously,
absolutely. It would be a shame. This is something that I think we've been excited about. It'd be a shame for that to go away. And obviously at the same time, we got to do what's best for the project and ultimately what's best for the community here. So we'll I wish we had a better beat on this. But it's a good point.
I mean, the state funding is still there, and National Grid funding is still there for the reimbursements, I assume. I hope.
Yes,
Yeah.
we will be still getting rebates from the state, so.
Okay, so might lose a portion of it. All
Right.
right, thank you.
Just a quick follow-up on that, Mr. Mayor, or Lynn, do we know what's the different pieces of those dollars coming in, the federal, the grid, and the state?
We're getting money.
What's in jeopardy? What's in jeopardy potentially? Cost, I mean, as part of the project, if that's okay, or you have that number.
I think, I'm not 100% sure, but it was in the range of 4 to 5 million.
Oof.
Lynn,
Mike Donovan.
it's
Yeah.
$5.2 million on the federal side and about 1.7 million on the Mass Save side, the local side.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
So I mean, I think the school building committee should be aware that this is something that we're going to need to look at going forward. So
So
Just a quick point of information.
yep.
I had a recent meeting several weeks ago, and the consultant that was conducting the meeting felt that we were in a better position than most for the federal reimbursement because the project had already begun. So they felt that we were in the better of two positions because we had already been begun. But as everybody said, no one really knows what's going to happen. But that was only a few weeks ago.
That's good to hear. Thank you, Michael.
so encouraging.
Craig, was this the last slide? Before we adjourn, I just want to thank the project team for all their work over the last several weeks to come to a solution. Thank the school building committee for your patience and support as we work through this issue. It's good news that we now have a solution that has been, like, I think very strongly vetted, and will be very strongly vetted by multiple teams of engineers independent of one another. So I think in a challenging condition, we should have confidence that we're going to get this right. It is not going to be without effects to the project, and we don't know what those are yet, and we will work through them together, and you know, when we reconvene at the next meeting, but in terms of time and cost. So you know, I just want to flag that for folks, and appreciate everyone's help and support as we figure that out about how to get this right. So
It's great.
all right, any other questions? Awesome. Seeing no further business, or a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thanks,
All
all.
in favor?
Aye.
Good night,
Happy
everyone.
Easter.
Good night. Thank you.
Have a nice Easter.
Night, thank you.